So ladies and gentlemen, I want to draw your attention out to the center of the dance floor right now if I could. We have our couple of the evening out here right now, Nathan and Cassie, and don't they look awesome tonight or what? Come on, can we give them a round of applause? Yeah. In fact, I think we should do one better. Everybody in the room stand up and give them a big woo. Come on, let's go. Woo woo! All right, there's a whole table right over there that didn't stand up at all. Yeah, we want that, just that table that I'm pointing at. Yeah, you're looking right at me right now. Get it? Yep, your table. Everybody from that table stand up. Everybody from that table stand up. Yep. And you guys have to give us the big whoop whoop just by yourself since you weren't all in on this before. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, not too bad. Not too bad. So we're gathered here today because these two, they're in love. I mean, you can just see it on their faces. As we went to the ceremony today and they shared those incredible vows, I was wowed by them. You could just feel the love in the air at that time. In fact, you know what? Marriage is all about love. You know, it's the reason we've gathered here today, and it's the reason a lot of you guys are probably married out there tonight too. So before I go any further, I want to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more on how we came to be here. So you all know why we're here. They got married just a few short hours ago, but you may not know all the little details that went into making this day possible. For Nate and Cassie, they have decided to share tonight with you their love story. It was on April 2008. A friend of hers, Josh, was having this awesome party and asked Cassie to come over and join the fun, but she was not feeling all into that, being social that night. She was like, no, no, no. But Josh finally convinced her, because he wouldn't let up, and she finally agreed to go over, if only to hush him up. And knowing that she would enjoy a little time with her friends, not Josh. Anyways, while playing cards at the party, it seemed that every time she looked up, she would catch this one guy from across the room. And he'd be staring at her. And as the evening went on, his bad boy good looks and constant attention piqued her interest enough for her to finally approach him. Introducing himself as Sonny, he quickly put to rest some of the rumors that Cassie had heard about him and asked for her name as well, when she identified herself as David's ex. Nate made his first major points with her by making it clear that he thought she deserved a better identity. Now, Nate had been watching her for quite closely all that night, and he knew everyone at this party except for the best-looking lady there. Since he now had her full attention as well, he was determined to keep it. He suggested they hop on his four-wheeler and go for a ride. So they headed off into the night with Cassie clinging as tight as she possibly could as he showed her his awesome driving skills at super high speeds and also doing wheelies. She even tried to return the favor, but she had to give up after a little while because she kept killing the machine because it was a manual and not an automatic. Now, by the time they made their way back to the party, just before sunrise, nearly everyone had gone, so they wrapped up with breakfast at the local cafe. They exchanged phone numbers, and Nate headed straight to work, tired but happy, already thinking about seeing Cassie again. As fate would have it, though, both of them walked away thinking that the other one was going to call the other one. So several months went by before Cassie's phone finally lit up with a text message from a strange number. When she asked who the person was, it took her a moment to remember just who Four-Wheeler really was. Could it possibly be him? Several days of texting led to meeting at Josh's house once again. And now they began to find excuses to hang out together nearly every day. Now, while everyone else teased them about being a couple, Cassie and Nate were very content to be just friends. She would be heading back to college soon, didn't want anything or anyone to hold her back. Nate understood her concerns and wasn't eager to do anything that could ruin their good friendship he had found with her. Now, by the end of the summer, though, it was getting tougher to deny their growing feelings for each other. Counting shooting stars from the horse pasture one night, Cassie noticed that Nate seemed oddly nervous that night, and she realized that she really wanted him to kiss her. The next day at work, she couldn't stop wondering if he felt the same way about her. Nate, of course, was fighting the same battle, and finally worked up the courage to ask her out, making a bet with her that she wouldn't be able to get up early enough for them to go fishing the next morning. In fact, they set the time for 6 a.m. Now, as usually, it would be hard for Cassie to get up at that time, but she was really super excited, so she was up at 5:30 in the morning, and she was patiently waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and then 8 a.m. rolled around, and here comes Nate, sheepishly coming down the driveway with a big apology for oversleeping. With that tone set, the date would go on with one minor misadventure after another. Cassie nearly stepped on a snake. Her scream startled Nate and scared the snake half to death. The motor on his father's old fishing boat didn't want to run, and even when they were out paddling, it got tougher because one of the paddles broke. Squirrel. Just making the day complete. The only thing that they would catch was a bunch of sticks, seaweed, and sunburn that day, so they finally called it quits. Not wanting the date to be a total loss, Nate drove Cassie up to the dam to witness the spectacle of sturgeons jumping upriver before taking her home. 3 short weeks later, Cassie was off to college, and any relationship fears she had were quickly put to rest. The first year, Nate made the hour-long trip to see her after work several times each week, only to drive back early the next morning, and she kept going to school. Nate was Cassie's little piece of home, her lifeline. He kept her sane through all the craziness of her freshman year in college. Now, over the next 3 years, they faced all the twists and turns that life together has to offer. By Cassie's junior year, they were living together and becoming parents to the perfect baby girl. Now, Nate's unwavering support for Cassie just reinforced what she had known since the first fishing date, that this was the man that she wanted to spend her life with. She had never known someone so willing to put up with everything, everyone else first. A man who could look so tough but have such a sweet, loving personality. He always knew how to make her smile no matter what. Now, Nate had no doubt about Cassie either. They shared so many interests: swimming, four-wheeling, road trips to anywhere and everywhere, cliff jumping, horses, and of course, their beautiful baby. He had fallen hard for this outdoorsy girl who wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty and who could even outfish him 9 times out of 10. Now, while they had discussed getting married, they had always spoken of wanting everything to be just right sometime down the road. But Cassie's mom had been dropping hints for a long time, and since truthfully the time was never going to be perfect, Nate decided that now was the moment to start beginning to make plans. So he called on his friend Aaron for his help, and he set off to find the ring on October 12th, 2011. Now, after letting Cassie know he would be getting home late from work, the guys headed for Eau Claire to do some serious shopping. Now, unfortunately, Cassie and her friend Jess had gone off to do some shopping of their own, which had taken them right by Nate's workplace. Not seeing his car in the parking lot, she figured he had gotten done early from work and must be at home. Now, when Cassie got a text back from him saying he was still at work, she started to wonder just what he was up to. By the time she got home and he still wasn't there, she began to get a little hot under the collar. Nate, with ring in hand and assurances that Cassie would love it, arrived back in town nervously and ready to go ahead with the proposal that night. Wanting it to be a complete surprise, he decided to meet her at the front door instead of coming through the garage as usual. He knocked, then got to one knee, ready to sweep Cassie off her feet. Cassie was carrying the baby when she first heard that tapping, wondering who could be here so late. She cracked the door, catching a glimpse of someone in black clothes, head bent down under a black hat, crouched on his step. She instantly screamed and slammed the door in his face. Over the baby's crying and her heart pounding, Cassie heard Nate ask to be let in. Confused and still upset over wondering where he had been, she let him in. then put the baby to bed. Now, Nate kept trying to talk to her, but the dog was barking and needed to be let out, so Cassie headed out back to tie up the dog. Nate, seeing another chance, he dropped down to one knee once again and waited for Cassie to come back inside the house. Now it was his turn to be surprised as Cassie came hopping back in on one foot, with the other foot having landed straight in a dog pile in the yard. They got back up and followed her into the kitchen and bounded to the sink, and they rinsed her foot off. By the time she had cleaned up, Cassie's head was swirling with things that she wanted to say to Nate, and she turned to him ready to give him everything with both barrels. But before she could get started, Nate grabbed her shoulder and asked her to let him talk before he lost his nerve and anything else could possibly go wrong. And for the third time that night, he got down on one knee and he held out the ring and he asked Cassie to be his wife. Now after asking him, and this is the point which every man wants to hear, this is the answer: is this a joke? Because I'm really mad at you. The truth finally sunk in. Then Cassie's eyes lit up and she joyfully told him yes, before slipping the ring on the wrong hand. Just like their first date, it wasn't perfect, but rather a moment that fit them both perfectly. So, as we've gone through the love story so far, we've heard a little bit about their past, and we know a little bit more about their future. But right now, I've asked each of them to write down in words why the other person is perfect for them. So here we go. When asked what makes Cassie the perfect woman for him, Nate says this, and I quote, "Cassie is definitely her own character. She speaks her mind with me, no candy coating. I can be completely comfortable with her. Just be myself, even acting like a goofus with her and our daughter, and it just makes her laugh. I want to spend the rest of my life with Cassie because she is my better half. I wouldn't know what to do without her." End quote. Let's give Nate a big round of applause. So when we asked Cassie the same questions, he says this about Nate and why he's the one for her. "I believe that Nathan is the perfect person for me because we are so similar. We both love adventure, and he's the only guy who would get his girlfriend a skydiving trip for her birthday. We look for thrills in everything in life, and we want the same things out of life. He is the rock of our family and the greatest dad I could ever have asked for. I didn't believe in true love or marriage and vowed I never would until I met him. We both have been through so much and lost more than most people twice our age, but together we have made it. Looking back, I realized that everything may not go the way we plan it, but it usually ends up better than anything we could possibly have ever dreamed." End quote. Let's give Cassie a big round of applause. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're celebrating this union of their love and lives. We're celebrating an amazing friendship that has become an amazing marriage tonight. They're here obviously with you guys, their dearest family and friends, to laugh and to cry and to dance and to celebrate all the best that life has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, would you rise out of your seats one more time with me for Mr. and Mrs. Sonnentag.